Hello, Chelsea fans. You're welcome to the first live stream on this channel of Chelsea TV. So, for me, basically, I want to talk about Chelsea's state of play, various transfers that have been going on. That Chelsea have done, and the reports linking Chelsea to even more incomings and possibly outgoings as well. So, and I also obviously like to know your thoughts, what you think about these various reports, what you've made of them. So, just go straight into it. The first one I want to talk about is Garnacho. Garnacho. Apparently, the links won't go away. The links don't seem to want to, go away. Chelsea linked with Garnacho again. For me, I don't know about you. I don't quite see what Chelsea want in Garnacho, and I don't quite see what he would bring that Chelsea doesn't already have solutions for. For me, I think you've got your Liam Delap, you've got your Joao Pedro, and so I was thinking and then you have your Bino Gittins as well, which would at this point in time be the number one left wing option. So I was thinking maybe you have a Nico Jackson as that other option on the left wing, because I think he's got the pace, he's got the skill to play there. And then you've got Tyreek George. So you've got three left wing options, in my opinion. But it just seems like the club and everyone around it, they're all bent on getting Garnacho. I don't have any issues with the player, obviously. Don't know the player. Don't know him personally, obviously. But I don't see him as a needle mover. I don't see him as someone that you must get. But apparently, it's like the club are looking at it from a perspective of, okay, this player costs £30 million now. Maybe we can get him in, and maybe a couple of Champions League games, decent performance in the Premier League, he can be sold for maybe 45 to 50 million pounds. So, one of those opinions on Garnacho to Chelsea, for me, it's not something I'm quite keen on. Obviously, just like every other player, if he comes to the club, I would support the player, because I'm not one of those sort of Chelsea fans and fans of other clubs in general, where once a player comes to your club that you don't really rate, then you want him to fail. No, I don't want him to fail. I want him to succeed, because if he succeeds at Chelsea, that means Chelsea is doing well. So that's all I want to see in the Champions League, in the Premier League, and of course in the other domestic cups. And as well, people can say you have lots of game time. Of course, we have lots of games, rather, the Champions League, Premier League, and the domestic cups. But as well, you've got Tyreek George in the building. You've got Nico Jackson in the building as well. That I think can be left wing options, except you're accepting the fact that maybe Tyreek George may be used as a make weight for Xavi Simons, because according to some reports at least, RB Leipzig they're really fond of Tyreek George. They're fond of they're looking at Nkunku as well. So they're looking at those ones as options. They're fond of Kendry Paez as well. So maybe those ones could be options that they would want. So maybe you're saying we're going to let Tyreek George go out on loan to RB Leipzig, and maybe we're well and truly open up to letting Nico Jackson go, maybe to Manchester United, maybe Newcastle United, if they fail in their bid to get Sesko. So maybe if that's what the club is wanting to do, then the Garnacho kind of sort of becomes an option that, while I'm not overly crazy about, I'm not throwing a parade if he signs, but I kind of will be okay. Well, Bino Gittins, Garnacho, you fight it over there. Of course, you can see some potential. Definitely, when you're a club like Chelsea, your club like Arsenal, your club like Manchester United in the academy, and then you get game time, you have some quality there. But for me, he's just not a needle mover, in my opinion. He's just not a guy that comes in and changes it up, in my opinion. Well, let's see if it happens. Root for the guy, and hopefully he can, come good. So, but for me, there's one other person I want to talk about as well. One other person I want to talk about. It seems he could be headed out of, Chelsea, and that is Marc Guiu. For me, it's just a little bit sad. It's a little bit sad that Marc Guiu is not going to make it, at least for this season. Won't be playing at Chelsea, won't be a Chelsea player. Because for me, I felt like he's shown enough in those Conference League games to tell everyone that yes, he's a good player, that he can cut it. But at this minute, you've got Joao Pedro, you've got Liam Delap, you've got Nico Jackson in front of him, except he leaves. Then you just struggle to see where he gets minutes from. But for me, Marc Guiu, I look at him and I just say he's kind of like a Liam Delap with game time. A Liam Delap without game time. I think that's what I'm looking to say. I think he's more like, if Liam Delap wasn't giving game time, then that what he would have been, because he's shown that he's got that intensity. He's shown he's got an eye for goal, but for whatever reason, he doesn't get to play. And he's going to go out on loan. Now, the way I look at this things on loan is this whole loan business. The way I look at it is, I'm a bit skeptical because obviously we had this whole thing of Andre Santos going out on loan to Nottingham Forest and didn't even get to play significant minutes, didn't get to play significant minutes and had to return to Chelsea before he got loaned out to Strasbourg again. So for me, not quite happy with Marc Guiu going on loan, but I understand why he has to go out on loan because of the options that we have right now. And for me, I just even wonder, would he even be is he even in the long-term plans of the club? Because of course we've heard about this pre-agreement business with what's his face now? This pre-agreement with Emmanuel Lemega, the striker for Strasbourg. We have that issue. So if the pre-agreement is done, that means at least for some games you have Emmanuel Lemega joining Chelsea, for the 2026-2027 season. So that means Marc Guiu may not have that chance. He may not have that opportunity, to play at Chelsea. Maybe at the end of the day, he ends up getting sold. And I hope he gets to play at Sunderland and you can show what he can do, because something that may happen is you have Sunderland acting all desperate for the player. And then what you have is, another striker is signed and then he's dropped to the bench. And sometimes you see coaches, sometimes you see even fans who say, we don't want to develop the player for a rival club, although Chelsea are not really rivals of Sunderland. You see those kind of things. Oh, we don't want to develop this player. And definitely a manager, if he signs a player, that means that player that was signed on loan, in this case Marc Guiu, will be looked at as a fallback option. If the striker will spend maybe £10 million on, £12 million on, doesn't really come good, then we can rely on this player on loan from Chelsea. Otherwise, he gets strapped to the bench. So for me, Marc Guiu, good striker, decent striker. I hope he gets to play. I hope he gets game time at Sunderland and maybe can come back to Chelsea next season. But I'd like to know your total opinions on Marc Guiu going out on loan. Let me know what you think about it. For me, while I don't really like it because I think he could have done something at Chelsea, but I understand why he has to leave. I understand why he has to go out on loan, because game time right now is a premium in game time, because we have 3 strikers already ahead of him. So he's not even going to play, I don't think. And even if he doesn't get to play, and even if you've got 1 striker leaving in Nico Jackson, you still have 2 strikers ahead of him that will play most of the minutes, that will hold most of the minutes. So I get why he has to go on loan. Now, speaking on loans again, we got Kendry Paez, another one that I was thinking that probably would join the team, this season, join up with us this season from the Club World Cup, going into the Premier League season itself, and then show us what it's all about. But that's not the case, obviously. He's going now to Strasbourg on loan. One thing you don't want to do is want to avoid that Thibaut Courtois type of scenario. Thibaut Courtois scenario where he got loaned to Atletico Madrid and became so attached to Atletico Madrid that Chelsea had to fight to get him back. And when again, you see the midfield is still stacked, because for one, Cole Palmer will always play. Enzo Maresca will play him. Fair dues is Chelsea's most important player, so he will always get to play. And then if Xavi Simons is signed, that means, he becomes the second option in that midfield. And for me, I've said it, Xavi Simons is a 10. He's not a winger. I know some people want to make you feel like, oh, he's got pace, so he must be a winger. No, he's not a winger, in my opinion. For me, he's a 10. So when you've got Cole Palmer, you've got Xavi Simons hopefully joining up. So that slot to the middle is shut down. And then out wide, you have Pedro Neto. You also have Xavi Willian. And right now, I think in the pecking order, Xavi Willian is more highly rated than Kendry Paez. So that means that door is short for him this season. And again, I struggle to see how he fits in. I struggle to see how Kendry Paez fits into this Chelsea side. Because, well, like Cole Palmer, as I said before, Kendry Paez is there, and Cole Palmer is there, Xavi Simons is there, and who's to say Chelsea don't go out again next season and sign another striker and sign another 10? Who's to say that? Probably scouting another young 10 as we speak. So Kendry Paez going out on loan. Well, I hope he gets game time. I'm pretty sure he will get the game time at Strasbourg because, of course, the relationship with Clear Lake and Blue Co relationship, so he will get to play. Let me know your opinions on that with respect to Kendry Paez going out on loan. Is this someone that you would have loved to see at Chelsea at the club, or you're quite okay seeing him going out on loan? For me, I love him today, but he's going out on loan. So fair play, fair play, fair play. And then we have to talk about the big news, because I want to know what you guys think about Jorrel Hato. Know what you guys think about Jorrel Hato. Is it a player you're excited to see? For me, I'm excited to see Jorrel Hato. I've been for a while. There's a video I did on another channel on a different platform where I talked about Jorrel Hato. That it would be a mistake if Chelsea signed Jorrel Hato, and people took it out of context. That's what people like to do. People took it out of context and start acting like, I didn't want him at the club. My whole point at that time was, if Chelsea didn't sign the striker, it would be a mistake. It would be an error to, sign, to focus your attention, spend maybe 50 million on, a Jorrel Hato. That's what I looked. That's the way I looked at it. That's how I felt, So of course we know, confirmed. Here we go. He's in the building, and medicals to be done. So Jorrel Hato, for me, I'm happy that he signed, and we've been crying out, Chelsea fans. We have been crying out for an actual backup, for actual backups to Cucurella, and you have one in Jorrel Hato. So on some platform, people have been saying, will he get time to play? Will he have game time to play? He's played about 100 plus games for Ajax, so maybe he wouldn't play. But you have Cucurella, and then you have him. Though I would have loved Ishia Samuel Smith to be given some game time, but obviously right now I think he's being sold to Strasbourg. So fair play, he's gone. So despite the fact I would have loved him to stay, but he's gone. So you need that option. You need that option in the building. So now Jorrel Hato, I think he will do well playing as a left back, playing as a backup for Cucurella for one. And then as well, I think if Maresca chooses to go overly tactical, like he's done so many times, where he wants to play someone as a wide centre back, and then you have Cucurella in that midfield, then it could work. Then you have someone that has the skill set in terms of pace, in terms of actual ability to defend. Then that would work, because we've seen, even under Pochettino, we've seen even under Maresca, where you see Disasi or Badeshiu playing out wide, and they just get exposed for pace. And Badeshiu is one player I hope gets to leave Chelsea this season, but for some reason he's rated. He's some player I wish he could leave. But Jorrel Hato overall, I'm happy with his play, his pace, his tenacity, his ability to actually defend is very good. And like I said, he's coming in as a backup for Cucurella. And we all know that the way Cucurella plays, he would always miss the odd Premier League game. No one is saying he should miss. No one is wanting him to miss any Premier League games, but we know he's going to accumulate those yellow cards because of the way he plays. Jorrel Hato had the opportunity to show what he can do. The cup games as well. He can play Champions League. Don't forget you have Champions League fixtures. this season, so he can play in those games. And as well, you could have Cucurella play in Champions League on, midweek, maybe Wednesday or Tuesday, and then Saturday, Sunday, Hato can start in his place. So for me, happy days that he's coming, so that's fine. Then the next player to talk about for me is more of an outgoing. That's Christopher Nkunku. For me, Nkunku, I think, fair play. It's time you leave. Like, fair play. I was one person that was really excited when, Nkunku was rumored to be signed by Chelsea, when it was actually signed by Chelsea. Really happy. Then he got his injury. And then under Maresca preseason, he played very well. We look at him and say, yeah, this is the guy we have been waiting for. And then comes out of the preview of last season, he didn't get to play. So that was just craziness for me. He didn't get to play, and he didn't even get to play in his favorite position when, he did play. So Club World Cup, he's got a few games here and there that he's played, but for me, I just think he has to go. He has to go. He's not going to play. Well, Enzo Maresca doesn't fancy him for whatever reason. So I think he has to leave that for one. And then you need to take his wage bill off of the books. Because if you're playing, even if you earn £500,000, doesn't matter. As long as you're contributing to the team. But I don't think he would get to play, especially if Xavi Simons is signed, and that's looking likely by the day. So I don't think Nkunku would be a good idea for him or the club to have him in the building. Because you could see at some point last season, Nkunku's head was gone. It was just gone. It wasn't fitness issues, it wasn't skill, issue of skill. It was more of a psychological issue. His head was completely gone from Chelsea. So I think at this point in time, it's good for him to go, because you could have him and think you have the body in the building, the body in the dressing room. And then what happens is, he could end up going. And then you give him 5 minutes to play, 10 minutes to play, and he's just not in it. And I think Nkunku is such a good player. He's too good to be a 10 minutes player, too good to be others 11 minutes player. So I think it's good to cash in on him and let him go. Maybe if he gets to play for, maybe if he gets to be make weight for Xavi Simons, he goes back to RB Leipzig. I think everyone will be happy with that. He goes back to his old stomping ground, plays very well there, shines there, brilliant for him. And then, Xavi Simons get to be at Chelsea. That's what I want to see. And then speaking about Xavi Simons, where do you think is his best role? For me, I know where I think he should play. I know where I feel is his best position. But I would like to know what you think. What do you think about Xavi Simons? A lot of people have said he's a winger. For me, I don't quite see him as a winger. Yes, he's got pace. He's pretty quick. But I think he is more suited to being, a 10. His eye for a pass, his ability to combine, with other players is just something to behold. And I think he's better served playing through the middle. So according to some reports as well, I think they're citing Fabrizio Romano says Xavi Simons and Garnacho are two separate topics at Chelsea. It's not one or the other. Then we will see if it's possible and see what happens in negotiations. So for me, if it ever comes to a point where it's Xavi Simons or Alejandro Garnacho, for me, it is Xavi Simons all day. Because like I said earlier on in the video, you already have 3 left-wing options. You've got 3. You've got Bino Gittins just signed. You've got Tyreek George there as well from the academy. Really improved in the Conference League when he had time to play. Really played well in the Club World Cup, got a goal. So he's in. And then, of course, you've got Nico Jackson. Well, I think Nico Jackson, people are sleeping on Nico Jackson as a left winger. One thing the issue Nico Jackson has is in the box, his awareness in the box. When the cross comes in, how to position himself to strike the ball like a striker would. That is where he has his challenges. And it's very frustrating when you watch it. But Nicolas Jackson on the ball, running at the fullback, 6 foot, I think he's smack on 6 foot tall, running at the winger with his pace and his skill. And you have the whole pressure of you have to be the guy to score that goal off his shoulders to walk it straight. I tell you, the work a treat. So for me, if you ever come to the point where Garnacho or Xavi Simons, we have to sign one or the other. If we don't sign one, if we sign one, we have to let one go. For me, it will be Garnacho. Garnacho has to go. We sign Xavi Simons because Cole Palmer has been so good for Chelsea, so good for Chelsea. But like I said, he is human, and you need someone to combine with him, to pair with him as 2 10s. If Enzo Maresca wants to play 4-2-3-1, like a narrow 4-2-3-1, he can be one of the additional creative midfielders in behind the striker alongside Cole Palmer. If you have to rest Cole Palmer, then he can be that option, that plays instead of Cole Palmer. If, let's say, like I think with Cucurella and Hato, if Cole Palmer, let's say, I play Champions League, maybe a game, maybe, I don't know, Real Madrid or whichever team Chelsea gets drawn up against, then going into the weekend, you have a quality replacement to start the game with in Xavi Simons, that can start the game. He plays 75 minutes, and Palmer then can easily come back in. Because going into the Champions League is not a conference league. You're playing far tougher oppositions. At least you're playing champions of their various leagues. And then, of course, you're talking about top European leagues. You're talking about the top 3, top 4 clubs from those leagues. And those games are going to be really, really tough and demanding on the players. So for me, if it came to either one of them, I would go with Xavi Simons because I think he just brings a lot more tactical flexibility. He brings an additional option in midfield. He brings intelligence to midfield. And we just have one body in his favorite position. Though he's someone who is brilliant and we all love him for what he does for the team in Cole Palmer, we must admit he is the only 10 Chelsea have. Kendry Paez, young kid, is off on loan Strasbourg, pretty disappointed, but he's got out on loan. So if you're to get anyone to come in, it should be that 10 option. Left wing for me, I think that's sorted out right now. It's not a pressure point. It's not a pressure point for me this as things stand now, because right now you've got already Gittins there. I think Nico Jackson is an option. Tyreek George is also an option. So you've got 3 there. And like I said, when I was talking about Garnacho, except the board have said, all right, now we are willing to let Nico Jackson go to Newcastle United, another £100 million thing, because nobody is going to pay £100 million for Nico Jackson. So if the board places £10 million on Nicolas Jackson, that's just a way to say we are not selling. Like if you want to buy this glass or you want to buy this hat, and I said, okay, it is £10,000. You just know I don't want to sell. You're not even going to bargain. You're not even going to ask me about prices. You're just going to know I don't want to sell. So the same thing with Nico Jackson. If Newcastle United comes for him, if Manchester United comes for him, and you say we want to sell him for £100 million, then no, you don't quite want to sell him. So if the board clearly, Luke Hope, Paul Winstanley, Laura Stewart are open to selling Nico Jackson, then okay, fair play. He gets sold. Fair play, he gets sold. Then that's fine. Then that means you now have to seriously look for left wing options. And then as well, if you're saying you want to let Tyreek George go maybe as on a loan to RB Leipzig, maybe as a make weight, say Tyreek George plus 40 million, to RB Leipzig on loan, then okay. But then the thing is, with RB Leipzig, I think you've got Antonio Nusa there. You've got Antonio Nusa, very good, exciting player. Chelsea will link with him at some point as well. Nigerian background, but Norwegian background as well. Plays for Norway. So you have Antonio Nusa, at RB Leipzig. So that's an option. So do you really want to send Tyreek George to a place where he's not going to play? And then on the other side, I think you've got Johan Bakayoko from PSV. So you've got. So is he really going to play at RB Leipzig? So the point I'm making basically is, except you're open to letting Tyreek George and or Nicolas Jackson leave, then there's no point being too crazy on Garnacho. Now they say the Chelsea are okay with his character, whatever. I have no problem with footballers' character generally. For me, as long as you're not committing any crime, you're not doing anything evil or illegal. Young kids can do whatever young kids want to do. That's for them. As long as you come on the pitch, you run, you put your heart on the pitch, you put your effort, you show quality on the pitch, you deliver quality on the pitch. I'm fine. Whatever you want to do off the pitch, that's left for you. As long as you're not committing any crime. Business of wearing the shirt of a different club while you're off the pitch, that's left for him. Whatever his brother tweets or posts on Instagram, that's left for him. For me, as long as you come on the pitch and you deliver, you don't do anything illegal off the pitch, but you come on the pitch and you deliver, that's fine. So tattoos everywhere, that's not my business. You come on the pitch and you deliver, you do your job. That's fine by me. But for me, Garnacho, I'm not really big on him. But if he comes in, support him. But I don't want it to be at the expense of Xavi Simons, in my opinion, because I think he is more of a need. Yeah, he's more of a need. Though we know Cole Palmer is the main guy in that central role. But for me, Xavi Simons is the guy. So take this off. So let's see. First time here, nice to be here. Thank you, Nicholas Chibuzo. Thanks for being here. Good evening. How you doing? Any update, guys? Just hope we sign Simon. But I still reserve my doubt for Garnacho. Yeah, for me, like I said, Xavi Simons is the guy that I want Chelsea to sign because one, he fulfills a need. And I know each time I mention Cole Palmer and resting, oh, you want Cole Palmer bench? How can you bench Cole Palmer? He's Chelsea's best player. Calm down. I know. Calm down. But what he has running through his veins is blood, not engine oil. He's not a machine. He's human. So he can rest. Hazard used to rest. Hazard would play 65 minutes, 70 minutes, and come off. And you have someone take his spot. So he's fresh enough to go again. So for me, Xavi Simons is more of a need, than than a Garnacho. That's my opinion. So instead of signing Garnacho, then why not leave Tariq George? Because Garnacho is not a good dribbler, not a goal scorer either. I don't know why. Just with Garnacho. For me, this is my point about that left. I know I've said it before. If you're early, if you joined the stream early, so maybe you heard me mention it, but I'll say it again just to make a point. You have Tariq George there in the team. Then you have Tariq George there. He's skillful. He's ambipedal now. He's ambipedal. He's got pace. He has a very good shot. You have Gittins ahead of him, so that's fine. So it's not like you're going into the season and Tariq George is your only option. You have Gittins in front of him, and then as well you've got Nico Jackson as well. That I think his best position is that left wing. I think Chelsea have misprofiled Nicolas Jackson as a 9. How do I say it? Because he lacks certain qualities to be a 9, which is that killer instinct in the box, that awareness in the box, that technique in the box. And no matter what type of striker you are, whether you're R9, whatever, you must have the ability in the box. So for me, I think Nicolas Jackson can do a very good job. And I think he has the possibility of being a world-class player if he is played in that left wing position. I'm telling the truth. If Nicolas Jackson is given free run left wing, he could be world-class. He could be world-class. So to go all out and spend so much money on a Garnacho, for me, I just think it's something that you shouldn't make a priority. But if that's the player the club wants to go for, fair enough, that's fine. So thank you all who are here. Please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel because this is a fairly new channel. Let's keep the numbers going. Smash the like button if you're liking the video, if you're liking the content, if you're liking the business Chelsea have done so far. Share this video, share this content, smash the subscribe button as well. So let's continue to go on. Let's continue to talk. So for me, one player that I would like to leave come the end of the season, transfer window, Nkunku for me should leave. I've talked about RB Leipzig liking him, being interested in him. I want him to leave because he's got quality. I think he's got quality, no doubt, but his head is gone. So when the player's head is gone, you can put him on the pitch and he does nothing. So it's kind of like you have a car, but you have the chassis of a car, you have the tires, you have everything, but the engine isn't there. So it isn't quite there. So for me, I think I think he should find a way, and he should go. He should be sold for both parties. I think for both parties he should go. Badershield for me, I think he should also leave. Badershield, I don't think it's Chelsea standard. From day one, the moment I saw Badershield playing for Chelsea, the first day he played, I just knew he alongside Disasi. But Disasi is actually better than Badershield, but it's just that the way Chelsea want to play football doesn't suit Disasi. Disasi is meant to be like this orthodox, old school, central defender, tough tackling, But when you talk about play high line, no, it's never going to work with Disasi. When you say play high line, play out wide, compete with the winger, who's attacking toward, who's running a pace toward in your direction, nah, problem. He will never shine there. So Chris Imar says, please more on Xavi. Please more on Xavi, please. So what I say about Xavi is that we haven't heard, the here we go from Fabrizio on it, but we've heard from some reports that the personal terms have been agreed, but we know the two main guys in this transfer industry. We're talking about Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein. When they come up to say things, then you take it as gospel. But some people have come up to say that Xavi Simons, has agreed personal terms with Chelsea, But for me, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure. But for me, I think he is someone that Chelsea would need. That's a bit more of an option than Garnacho, in my opinion. I think he makes a lot of difference for Chelsea. So for the reports I saw, Nico Shira. I hope I've not butchered the name. So I'll just add this to the stage and let's see. So for me, this is what the report are talking about. So according to Nico Shira, says here we go. There we go. Deal down contract signed until 2032 with an option to extend to 2033. Fee in excess of £55 million. Nico Shira. I think I've seen this report from this guy, Nico Shira. But until we get it from the main guys, then I can say, before I can then say, yes, it's done. But overall, I think he will be a good addition to that midfield because of the options because of who he relieves and the quality he brings to the team. So for me, Xavi Simons, I think that one Chelsea should be looking at. But for outgoings, Nico Jackson, Nkunku, he should leave. Badershield as well. I think he should leave. Disasi. Joao Felix for me was a player I thought could work, and that's the one area where I'm a bit skeptical about Xavi Simons coming. Not because he doesn't have the quality. Of course, he does have quality. But the problem I have is if Maresca would ever decide that any player can not replace but compete and or serve as backup for Cole Palmer, if you will ever think of any player in that light, because there are games we saw last season where Cole Palmer was injured, limping, and he played him. So that's the only thing where I look at Xavi Simons and say, is he really going to play? Is he really going to have that opportunity, to show what he can do? But he can play. And then, of course, there's a school of thought, at least some people have been saying that, okay, maybe Cole Palmer will play the way he played against the game versus PSG, where he plays as a right winger and then inverts just more or less the right, more like a 10 that playing out wide, and you have your Juan Augusto overlapping. And then if he does that, you have your Xavi Simons, actually playing behind the striker. For me, if that's done, there's a limitation to games he can play, teams he can play against. Maybe the big games that can work. You're playing the big game versus your Liverpool's, your Arsenal's. But when you play against teams, maybe Brentford, I'll say, okay, have the ball. Then playing Palmer as a winger, even if you're inverting him and making him a 10, becomes a struggle. Would be a struggle for him. So that's the only thing in terms of quality. Xavi Simons, of course, 100%. He's got the quality. He should be there. He should be in the team 100%. That's someone that I'm hopeful Chelsea would get done, and it looks like it could get done. So hopefully it gets done. And then for me, another outgoing that I'll look at Chilwell. For me, I don't know how Chelsea have been unable to get Chilwell gone, because even Saudi Arabia are not even looking like they're interested in signing Saudi Pro League club, because people have made this mistake of thinking the Saudi Pro League clubs, they don't have any sense. All they know how to do is spend money. Just spend money on everything, even if it's not, even if there's no quality. What they are trying to do is they're trying to improve their league. They're trying to make their league better. They're trying to get top quality players can come into their team, into club sites in their league to improve it. So at this point in time, I think maybe they look at Chilwell and don't see enough quality, and don't see enough value in him. So maybe what could happen could be Chilwell could go out on a loan with no buyback, with no buy option, and then the club can just decide to pay his full salary, and then he comes back next season, and then you see what happens from there. Maybe you loan him to a championship club, maybe, because the thing with Chilwell is a very good fullback. Let's not make that mistake, because some things that we as fans we do is when the player is not playing or is not in the manager's plans, we forget all the qualities that the player had. Pochettino was a coach that destroyed Chilwell. Chilwell, top level left back, old school left back, up and down, up and down, up and down. Pochettino came in and played in one weird position where he was playing like a left winger. At some points he was in central positions, and then his injury started. Reoccurred, sorry. So with the reoccurrence of injuries and his not having that much game time, I think that what has affected his value in the eyes of clubs, because Chilwell is the kind of player that maybe a Crystal Palace would sign, or maybe a newly promoted club would sign. But as it is at this minute, I just think we will struggle to get a club that would want to buy him. And I don't even think we can even ship him off to Strasbourg. Because the thing that people forget about Strasbourg, a lot of Chelsea fans forget about Strasbourg is not a boarding school. Strasbourg is not an arm, not a branch of Chelsea. Strasbourg is a club on its own. You may be under the same ownership, but they have their own ambitions as well. So you're not just going to bring a player that is broken, that's not good enough, and shove the player down their throat. No. They need to look for players that has quality, maybe young player from academy or whatever, like Mike Penders and all that. But you can't just bring a player with low value and then say they must take the player. No, that's not going to happen, because one thing we don't, some Chelsea fans forget is, or don't even think about, is that Bluco wants Strasbourg to shine, just like they want Chelsea to shine. Because if Strasbourg does well, that's an investment for them that is bringing in profit. That's an investment that is bringing a return on investment. The same thing with Chelsea. It's just like a man having a Ferrari and Lambo and having let's say a Porsche. One car doesn't belong to the other, but the cars belong to that man. So the same thing. Clear Lake, Bluco own Chelsea. They also own Strasbourg. One club doesn't belong to the other. So both clubs, they're looking for both clubs to grow. So I don't think they would want to ship Chilwell to Strasbourg, in my opinion. I think they'll prefer getting him off their books completely, but you struggle to find takers. That's a problem. And then another one is Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling, I think, is someone that I've wanted to leave Chelsea since Pochettino's time, because I think he was not the guy that Chelsea thought they were signing. And I think he has made a lot of. I think he is the one signing that made clearly and Blue to think, maybe we don't offer 300K a week to players, because he was signed and then he didn't really contribute, in my opinion, at Chelsea. Because Sterling, with due respect to what he did at, to his time at Liverpool, what he did at Man City, he really, what would I say? He cheats Chelsea a lot, because there are times in games where you expect Sterling to press, Sterling will just be jockeying around and not really doing anything. So I think he has to go. We have Fulham is interested in his signature, which is, I think, a good thing. At least he still gets to remain in London, be close to his family, doesn't have to relocate everybody to somewhere else. So that'll be fine. And then he's off the books of Chelsea. Maybe you have to take a pay cut to go to Fulham, because I'm not quite sure if they'll be willing to pay 300 plus £1,000 a week for him, or they could look at him as the star player. Play for Liverpool, play for Man City, won titles there, play for Chelsea. So maybe they could look at him and say, he's our star player. He's the one player who sacrificed playing that 300 plus K week salary to him. And then hopefully that everything flows through him and he can really be that big star in the team. Maybe that could work. And I think that will be fine. He still remains in London. He goes to Fulham. Because I think he just needs to leave. There's one player I would want to leave, but the way things look at this point in time, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think we have to endure Robert Sanchez one more season. I don't like it. I was hoping Mike Mignon would have come in, but not getting Mike Mignon. I was hoping Mike Penders, would be giving the reins to the team. That's not happening. He's gone on loan to Strasbourg. Donnarumma, we've had reports about Donnarumma, but for me, I'm a bit skeptical about Donnarumma coming to Chelsea. I don't think that's going to work, because for one, his wages 200 plus £1,000 a week, and this ownership has shown that they're not willing to go beyond £200,000 when it comes to base salary. They're not willing to go above that, and the way Maresca wants to play, I'm not quite sure. If you want that Club World Cup tournament, you look at Donnarumma. When it comes to saving shots, coming up and being strong, collecting the ball from the skies, he was very good at that. But when it came to this playing out from the back business, I think that's where he had this challenge. I think the ball was always left for Marquinhos, or Beraldo to come up and play out, or you just play a short pass to someone and then they kick it off. So I think with the way Enzo Maresca wants to play now from the back, I don't think Donnarumma gets to play. And when you combine that with his wages, I don't think he gets to play. Like Mignon would have been the main guy, would have been the best option to go for, but obviously that's not happening. He's going to be in AC Milan, I think, for this season at least, except Chelsea is shocked, but so Donnarumma isn't coming to Chelsea, so that's off the books. So Chelsea would have to go again this season with Robert Sanchez and Philip Jorgensen. I know a lot of people are saying, "Oh, look at what he did in the Club World Cup." Really simple as saying about Chalobah. Look at what he did in the Club World Cup. Now, what makes a player a top quality player? It's not moments, because for you to be signed, scouted by a club, you play Premier League football, you must be decent, you must be okay. But for you to be that top level, world-class goalkeeper, world-class striker, world-class midfielder, world-class player in general, is consistency. Bringing that world-class ability, excellent performance, 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10 performance, consistently. Every game you bring that. Maybe you have 1 or 2 off games, but every game you bring it. But for Robert Sanchez, that's a problem. Do I think he can come in and every game in, game out, 8.5 for a whole 38-game season? I don't quite think so. I don't think so. In my opinion, I don't think he is that guy. But if he comes and shocks us all and becomes a modern-day Thibaut Courtois regen, that's fine, beautiful. I'm not going to root against him. But you just know Robert Sanchez isn't that guy. And then when you look at the bench, Philip Jorgensen, I think Chelsea should have signed that guy as a defensive midfielder. Let him have the ball, control the ball in midfield. because he's very composed on the ball. When the ball gets to him, he shows so much composure on the ball. Traps the ball, fakes the attacker. Range of passing, very very good, exquisite. But when it comes to doing what a goalkeeper is meant to do, what is meant to be meat and drink for a goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen is all over the shop. He's all over the place. Against that Liga Warsaw team in that Conference League game, if you remember, all the shots that was played towards him went into the net. Every shot that was played in his direction went into the net. In the game versus Ipswich Town, away, the shot that came his way went into the net. Although fair play, the penalty, that was awarded to the lap wasn't a penalty because there was no contact whatsoever. You know, but he seems shaky when it comes to doing what you want a goalkeeper to do. What's the main thing? Because right now we're in the era where everyone is, passer from the back, passer from the back. But we forget what the main job of a goalkeeper is. It seems, is it mundane to say? But it's like the whole world are forgetting about it. The main function of a goalkeeper, you save shots, you stop, you save, you go out and command your box, you block balls that have been crossed, from corners or open play, you win those balls. Now his symptoms have been shoved down the carpet. He doesn't do those things very well. So that is one area on the pitch where I think, Chelsea will struggle. I think that's one area that sadly may affect Chelsea being able to really, really compete for the league title. Because I think when you talk about left back, sorted. Cucurella, now Hato, sorted. You talk about right back, you got Rich James and then Malo Gusto. Forget all the harsh criticism that Malo Gusto, has got or got last season because he was playing the midfield. You saw him in the game versus PSG. You saw what he could do. You've seen what he did, under Pochettino. If you play Malo Gusto as an orthodox right back, as a prototypical right back, attack, defend, pace, put it across, he's going to play very well for you. So, Reece James, Malo Gusto, sorted, no issues there. And then when it comes to centre back, you have Colwill there, and then you've got Tosin there. For me, Chaluba, Jury out on him a bit. So the goalkeeping place is the one area that has issues. Go to the midfield. Dario Esugo. I don't know why I'm having this strange feeling that Dario Esugo may not get that much game time this season. I just have that feeling. But hopefully I'm wrong on that count. Hopefully I'm wrong because in the midfield right now you've got Caicedo, you've got Esugo, you've got Andre Santos, and then of course you've got Enzo Fernandez. So I think in Dario Esugo, just like with Xavi Simons, you have someone that can provide backup for Caicedo, at least some protection. 70 minutes played, you have someone that can come in and see the game out. You have someone that can play in some Champions League games. Maybe you have a big game coming in the week on the weekend. Maybe Chelsea taking on Arsenal on the weekend. Estugo can come in and play that Caicedo role. And then for me, I think one player that Chelsea must not lose, must not let go, because we've heard some reports that Inter Milan have been interested in his, services, and that's Andre Santos. For whatever reason, Andre Santos must not be sold. Andre Santos must not be sold because I think he has the qualities of Enzo Fernandez and the qualities of Caicedo. He can tackle, he can pass the ball, he can push up and support the lack of Palmer and Xavi Simons if and when he joins Chelsea. So for me, I think he mustn't be sold. He mustn't be sold. He mustn't be loaned out. I think everyone in that midfield, like you have that right now, Dario Esugo, Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Andre Santos, these four, I think, should stand pat. It shouldn't be broken up. Shouldn't be sold off to anyone. So that's what I want. But never know with this bud, I could always come up with something crazy that you were not really anticipating. But so for me, that's where I say I don't want him being sold. I don't want him being sold at all. So let's see chat. So yeah. So thank everyone who's been watching. Keep smashing the like button. Keep subscribing to the channel. Thanks for everyone who's joined so far. We're having more of these streams on here to talk about more Chelsea stuff, more Chelsea signings, more Chelsea outgoings. And we'll also be having, discussions about Chelsea in terms of post and pre-match analysis. So we'll have a pre-match match prediction and all that, and then post-match reviews as well. If you want to be part of those panels, let me know in the comments as well, in the comment section. So I'll reach out to you and we can figure out how we're going to get that done. So I think overall, the transfer business Chelsea have done so far, I'll give it a solid B minus. B minus. Liam Delap is decent as well, but you have Joao Pedro. I think Joao Pedro is going to really, really be good for Chelsea, especially because I think he can combine well with the Cole Palmer, and combine. That's another reason I think. If you think about it, if you really deep it, you really clock it properly, I think if you have Nico Jackson playing that left wing and you have a Joao Pedro, you could have a nice relationship there. A nice relationship between Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer, and Nico Jackson. And Nico Jackson, since he has some experience playing centrally, you can have him and Joao Pedro dovetailing off each other on that left-hand side. So I think rather than waste all the money, waste all the efforts on Garnacho, I think you just leave the left wingers as they are. Not even Rodrigo, I don't think, because I know everyone is crazy about Rodrigo right now. Everyone is saying Rodrigo is the guy, Rodrigo is the guy. But for me right now, I think Rodrigo is giving me Pochettino vibes. I don't know if you get what I mean. Like, before Pochettino joined Chelsea, he was the guy everyone wanted. When Manchester United were looking for a coach, Pochettino. When Chelsea were initially looking for a coach for Pochettino. Oh, get Pochettino in this. He will do. Look at what he did at Spurs. Got Spurs to a Champions League final. Oh, get Pochettino. And then he came into Chelsea and just wet the bed. Absolutely wet the bed. Drenched the bed with you know what. So I just think Rodrigo, he seems to be the one everyone talks about right now. If you're Liverpool, you need a left winger, sign Rodrigo. If you're Manchester United, you want to look for a left winger, sign Rodrigo. If you're a Chelsea, you're looking for a left winger, sign Rodrigo. Even Real Madrid that is out at the minute, don't let Rodrigo go. He should stay. I just think the hype is becoming way, way more than the actual player is. He's a good player, don't get me wrong. If he joins, happy. But I don't see him. I think we're beginning to, use the fact that he has been poorly treated at Real Madrid. And don't get me wrong, he has been poorly treated by Real Madrid. He was there, you have him with Vinny Jr., and they were meant to share the wing roles, but Vinny Jr. head and shoulders above him. That's how they're viewed. And then he's always seen as the gadget guy, come off the bench, play 20 minutes here, or if someone is injured, you come up and you play those few minutes. When the person recovers, you're back to the bench. And then you sign Mbappe. And Mbappe, for whatever reason, prefers to play coming from the left. So as it is right now, so we take the fact that he's not been treated very well to skyrocket his quality, to make everyone feel like, he's super, super good. And he's very good, don't get me wrong. He is very good. But even right now, this minute, if you're keeping Nico Jackson and Tyreek George, in addition to Gittins, then I don't see why you want to get Rodrigo. I don't see. Except, again, like I said, except you say, what we're going to do right now is we want to sell Jackson and we want to loan Tyreek George. Then it makes sense. And speaking of, I know this is going to sound crazy to people. I know people are going to say it's because of your red cap. It's because of your Nigerian ways. But let's think about it. Which left winger has been more productive than Ademola Lookman in the past 2 seasons? Which left winger has, been as consistent as Ademola Lookman? Let's think about it for a minute. Which left winger has been as consistent? Goals, assists. Last season wasn't his best, but he got 20 goal contributions, 15 goals, 5 assists. So how many left wingers can say they've brought that to the table. And if you can add 20 good contributions to this Chelsea team from out wide, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And then for me, I'm only saying that is if you decide, Harry George, you want to loan him out to RB Leipzig to get a better deal for Xavi Simons, and then you want to sell Nico Jackson to maybe Newcastle United, maybe in their desperation they offer you, £70 million. So, then you want the left winger to come in and be competition for Gittins. Then for me, instead of going to pay £30 million, or the reported valuation for Garnacho is 40, then why not go and spend even less than that to get Ademola Lookman? Because Inter Milan are busy playing hardball and they're low balling, Atalanta with what they have to offer. They say the player wants to join us, but we're not in any hurry. So while they're doing that, why not just go in, make the offer, and get Ademola Lookman? That is if you really, really want a left winger. Because for me, I can give my opinion. I can say what I would like to see happen. But if the club decides we want to go get a striker, we want to go get a left winger, what can I do? I can only point to options. For me, I can only say options. Like Ademola Lookman, I think he's the best left winger available in terms of pound for pound, the value of what they can bring. How many strikers even that guarantee you 20 goal contributions that will go for 30 million? And the striker that gives you that, probably you're talking 40, 50 at the least. So I think his pricing is not that mad as well. So if you want to send a left winger, instead of going out and when you talk about his wages fits right into the whole Clear Lake Blue wage structure thing. He's so low, it's embarrassing. He earns 44, or let's just round it up to say 45,000 euros a week. That's what Ademola Lookman earns, 45,000 euros a week. So you could double his wages and he would still come within the Chelsea supposed wage structure. So for me, it would make more sense to sign him because he has more experience. Gittins will have someone he can actually learn off. He has someone that you can actually learn off, that he would ease his way through, because Gittins and Garnacho will just be like for like, similar age, similar ages, and then sort of finding their way through. So let's see how that shakes out. Joao Pedro, I think he's the number one guy going into the season. Liam Delap could be in second striker. Marc Guiu, like I said at the top of the show, he's gone on loan to Sunderland. Hopefully he gets to play. So he ends up somewhere good. I don't think the way things are going right now, I don't think he gets to be at Chelsea. Sadly so, because right now, if this mega things come through, that this pre-contract agreement, if it comes through, then that means he's definitely going to join Chelsea next season. That is the upper season. That's 2025, 2026, 2027 season, the summer of 2026. So if that happens, that means Emmanuel Emega isn't. That means Marc Guiu would then have to go on another loan again. And so I don't think when a player goes for a loan twice, the third time the player begins to think of leaving the club permanently. So I think Marc Guiu would end up leaving Chelsea permanently, which is a bit sad because he's a player I really like, and I think he could have been the Liam Delap. You get my point? Because they match up stylistically, pace, power, high pressing, and I think if you look at Marc Guiu, is a better presser than Liam Delap. A slightly better presser than Liam Delap, but Liam Delap has years on him. So he's a bit more experienced. Played first team football, for Ipswich Town. So he has that on him. So you get to see why he's placed ahead of him. But it's just unfortunate that he'll be leaving Chelsea. So go along and smash it, Mark. And then goalkeeping, I hope we get a goalkeeper, but Robert Sanchez is going to be that guy going into the season. So let me know your opinions on this show. If you want to be on future panels, let me know as well. And then for preseason, we'll be doing watch along for those preseason games. I think there are two of them against Bayer Leverkusen, if I'm not mistaken. So those two games, we'll do watch along for those games. So I keep you guys built on those ones. And then as well, if you want to watch other non-Chelsea related news items or football topic for discussion, you want to know more about certain players, or know about general transfer window, transfer market discussions, for Manchester United, Newcastle, Arsenal, and then so Uganda Football Channel is there as well. So if you want to know a lot more about Nigerian football as well, about Nigerian dual nationals doing the business, you can subscribe to the Uganda Football Channel. So that's for that. So, boy, if you want to talk about Chelsea stuff, this is where you need to be of Chelsea TV. I hope you subscribe to the channel if you're new, and thank you so much for subscribing and being on this channel and watching this stream all through. There will be another one as well, another streamer live show tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that one on this channel. But at this point, I've come to the end of today's video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on yet another video on Up Chelsea TV. Stay well, stay blessed. Bye-bye.